This was a shock to me. Yorkville used to be a cemetery. Insert the before and to what it is right now. This is how the Santa Claus parade looked like.
Hello people who cannot sit at home, thank you so much for watching me. So I thought I'm gonna start a video like this. I wanna find some really cool historic stuff about Toronto. Let's see what I can find. But I needed to scrap all that because when I actually got to Toronto Reference Library, I found so many cool facts and photos about old Toronto that right now I know for a fact that this video is going to be packed with information that, you know, when you're at one of those dinner parties and you will throw in one of these facts, people will be very interested. But just in general, I'm not saying you need to impress anybody with these facts. In general, it's just very interesting facts about the city that we live in. I am sure you will find a lot of this very, very fascinating. Let's go.
So here I am leaving the TTC. I am right now at Yonge and Bloor. Oh my god, there are so many new skyscrapers. At least I haven't seen a bunch of them. I guess I haven't been here for a while. So Toronto Reference Library, roughly a couple of minutes from Yonge and Bloor. Gorgeous. I've definitely been there a few times, but I haven't been here for a good 6 years. It's definitely looking fresh. I don't know if they've had a renovation or I just simply don't remember it, but everything is very beautiful. The elevators are very nice. Over here, these benches are very high-tech. I also definitely don't remember that before. And over here are really cool space age looking pods where you can read and just enjoy a bit of a quietness. And here all of my books. Oh my gosh, that is a very small portion of what I actually went through. This is the ones that I actually took with me, but I was kind of skimming through a bunch of books as I was going through the shelves. So the first thing I want to talk to you about are the Great Fires of Toronto. So there actually have been two. This one specifically is the second one. This is the from 1904. Both of them were hugely devastating, but it's insane how you can see over here Old Town Hall being there, and over here in the 70s there's another picture of it. Definitely everything is already rebuilt over 100 years ago, and now we've gotten to this point. This is just from Google Maps. Holy, the devastation of what it was before. Let me just quickly insert the before and to what it is right now. And I just want to take a moment for myself and for anyone who's watching and just recognize how much this city has grown. And by the way, the reason, of course, the fires did start is because most of the buildings in Toronto from 100 to 200 years ago were all built, of course, with wood. And once the fire started, it was almost impossible to put it down. Number two fact really took me by surprise. I did not know this, and this was a shock to me. Yorkville used to be a cemetery. Yes, you heard it right. It is pretty crazy right now. It's actually from Yonge and Bloor all the way to Yorkville. That was cemetery. I'm going to show you a map in a second. But yeah, just looking at how it is right now, gorgeous, beautiful. There's lots of high-end stores. Of course, the Yorkville area itself is really nice. A lot of good restaurants, a lot of just people walking. Love that area for sure. I think anybody who's ever been to Toronto, visited it, or of course, if you live here, you've been here. And over here essentially is where the cemetery was. So it was called Potter's Field Cemetery. Over here, I'm showing you. So at the bottom over there is Bloor Street. So kind of Yonge and Bloorish, all the way up until kind of Hazelton is above. It's the gray box over here. So yes, essentially Yorkville, that area was a cemetery. It actually was for people who could not afford the church burials. And by the way, that whole area was considered to be not a good area, just not a great area at all. And by the 1850s, Yorkville, it was growing, and the cemetery viewed as obstacle to progress. I read a bit more. It essentially meant that all of the burials were actually contaminating the well water, and they just began the process of relocating whatever they could to actually Mount Pleasant Cemetery, which, by the way, is essentially pretty much looks like the entry still looks like that, which is great. And here it is on Google Maps, pretty much exactly the same. So it's amazing how the entry gate to the cemetery has been untouched for so many years.
Just popping in over here is actually still during the construction. There are many new condos going up in that area. There are still remains found pretty much each time there is a construction.
The fact number 3 is Creepy Santa Parade. I was very surprised to find that this is how the Santa Claus parade looked like in Toronto. So this is specifically Eaton's Santa Claus parade. I guess it's not creepy, but it's definitely unusual. The expressions of the dolls' faces. To be honest, I never really thought about how the parade looked like before, because of course they had limited ways of creating these floats, I'm gonna call them. So the first parade actually happened in 1905, and Santa arrived in town by train at the old Union Station, and these photos specifically are from 1926. So definitely long way from where we are right now with all of the tech that we have and the balloons and the floats. And this is not Toronto Parade, I just found some stock footage. But it's again cool to reflect how far we came as a society in terms of the development of many things. Fact number 4 is the Don River. So it is very interesting to me. Roughly where the DVP is right now, the Don River was larger. It's still there, but it was much larger, and people were freely kind of enjoying themselves and swimming in the river. It was sort of a thing to do on a hot sunny afternoon. What's even more interesting to me is that Don River was corrected. It was very S-shaped before, and they kind of made it straight. That happened in 1880s. And that was done to accommodate the industrial development in the portlands to allow polluted water to flush onto the lake, which is very interesting to me because the photo of the swimmers was taken in 1920, so it was a common thing to do. Yet it seems that everybody did know that this was polluted water, or maybe nobody really questioned those things. So quickly, let me show you Google Maps. This is how roughly that area looks like right now. There is the Don River. It is behind this gate, so there's really no way to show you over here. I'm going to try to show you from the other side, and it's the same thing. It's not really showing the river, but yes, the river is there, just very small. And our fact number 5 is the forgotten Lakeside Park. So over here I'm showing you the photo that I found of the Dalhousie City boat. This boat was, as I understand, going from where the ferries right now go to the Central Island, and it went to St. Catharines, which is literally across from Lake Ontario. And the reason that people were going there is that because they had a lakeside park, which was this really cool park with attractions. And by the way, the carousel from that park is still in St. Catharines. You can find it during the warmer months and you can ride it. I think the price of it is like 20 cents per ride. It's really adorable. And another destination of the lakeside park was this water slide, which is yet again so fascinating to me. So this water slide was actually the place to go. Like, this was what everybody wanted to try out. Problem with that slide is that if it's dry, it will give you splinters, and it's actually pretty bad. So people did know that you're supposed to wet the slide before sliding down, but eventually this was decommissioned because of just safety reasons.
So the ferry from Toronto to St. Catharines was still functioning up until 1997, which is fairly recent. And then there were talks about a hovercraft that would go all the way over there in early 2000s. Nothing really materialized. The speculation online is that it simply is too expensive versus for people to just simply drive all the way there using QEW. Because of course the ferry would take a very certain amount of people, and it's a fairly long ferry. It's not a short journey, so I think financially it didn't really make much sense.
Fact number 6, U of T. So over here is the University College, and it was completed in 1959, facing south instead of east to save an old elm tree. So this campus specifically boasts that it's believed to be the province's largest collection of mature elm trees, with more than 3,300 trees. It's essentially an oasis of green surrounded by Canada's largest metropolis, that is Toronto. Definitely something that I never knew about. Over here I want to see how the campus looks right now, and it pretty much looks exactly the same. Very cool that the historic building has stood the test of time and is still there. And another cool thing to mention is Viator actually offers University of Toronto ghost tours. When you walk around and you get told all of the ghost stories that are said to happen at U of T. Definitely fascinating. It's something that I've never done, but I'm always very curious about. Down in the description, I'm going to link this tour. Handland Point is very fascinating to me because this is the Toronto Islands. This is the west side of the Toronto Islands, and it used to be a big kind of happening place that included Handland Point Hotel and Boathouse. And by the way, Handlands, it's actually the first that was dad, and then his son took over kind of to develop that whole area. Sadly, the hotel was destroyed by fire on August 10th, 1909, which is a shame because I think that would have been a beautiful area. It's a shame that there's nothing there right now, though right now it's actually the location for nude sunbathing. And here's me going to the beach. It's a clothing optional beach, as I mentioned. Of course, I cannot show the actual beach. And it does have a really beautiful view onto Etobicoke. Fact number 8 is all about St. Lawrence Market. So St. Lawrence Market was first established in the early 19th century, specifically in 1803, which is insane to even think about it, how historic that market is. It was the north section that was developed first, and then the south was developed later. So over here is the photo of the north section, which is called Upper St. Lawrence Market. And over here is how it looked in the 70s. The south portion, which I'm showing over here, was built a little bit after that. Actually used to be a city hall that eventually became a market. That's why it's a really beautiful building. This Google Maps actually still shows the old look of the northern portion of St. Lawrence, and this is how it is about to look. It's already constructed. It looks sort of like this. I'm not sure when it's opening, but I think very soon.
And just a really quick, really cool note is National Geographic has named Toronto St. Lawrence Market as its top 10 food markets in the world in its book Food Journeys of a Lifetime.
By the way, another really cool tour I want to suggest to you is the original Haunted Walk, which is I'm showing over here. They include St. Lawrence Market, but also Viator has so many other walking tours of Toronto. It's so much fun to do. I've done it a couple of times. Over here is a $6 tour, and again, they show you and tell you all about the city. I think it's great for a tourist or a local to kind of learn more about the history. Another really cool tour is, I wish I really want to do this. So this is the Taste of the Continents, and it's an international food tour. I think they go to about 6 different places. This is at Kensington Market, which by the way is also very historic to Toronto. And I think it's just such a cool idea. You walk around, pretty sure you skip the lines over there. It's of course more expensive because it includes the food, but seems like a lot of fun. For all of these are going to be linked down below. The fact number 9 is the moved house. I again found this so fascinating because I've lived at Shepherd and Yonge for about 10 years and I never knew this. So this house over here was very historic. It was there, as I understand, at least since 1922, probably even earlier. And it was on the corner of Shepherd and Yonge. And when the subway was constructed in 1996, that building, the old building, the store, I think it was a hardware store at that point, it actually moved to Beecroft Avenue, which is not very far. I'd say about maybe 15-minute walk. Over here, I am just going for a walk, and I've seen this building so many times. I think it's a daycare center right now. So fascinating that they moved this building, and instead of, demolishing it, they kind of kept the history, and it's still a functioning building that people enjoy every day. I think that's so genius and so amazing. And it's, by the way, called Dempsey Brothers Store. And last but definitely not the least fact that I found that really shocked me was Scarboroughs Growth. So over here is the 1945 Lawrence Avenue and McCowan, and there's literally nothing. There are fields. Where versus over here in 1969, which is about 15 years after, everything, literally everything is built. It's insane to me how 15 years brought so much growth to that region. And here's how it looks right now.
So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any other facts that you think are really fun, write them down below, please. Maybe I'll do a part 2 if there is interest. Thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe, like, and share if you haven't yet already. I think only 4% of people that watch me actually subscribe to me, so it would mean a lot to me if you subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.